rescued food from your refrigerator or the grocery store has never tasted so good. In this CARP Culinary experience, we meet with Khadija from Kindness Cafe to learn how to make a rice dish that is delish.
Thank you everybody for joining us today on Instagram and on Zoom. We're going to be making Moujadara, and as I've said, it's a Palestinian dish made of, it's basically lentils and rice with, I want to say, caramelized onions on top, right? Very delicious and very good. Your ingredients are very basic and very easy to remember. We're going to be cooking 1 cup of rice, which we have right here. 1 cup of rice, approximately. This is parboiled rice. Mostly because I don't know how to make basmati rice. It's fickle, you know what I'm saying? And it's really easy to cook. So we have parboiled rice, and then we also have 1 cup of brown lentils. And the reason we're going brown lentils today is because red lentils kind of, we want the lentils to kind of hold their shape, you know, and we're going to cook them appropriately as well so that they don't fall apart in our pot. And then our final main ingredient is onions. And I would say 2 to 3, you can do 4. It's really up to your taste, whatever you like, but that comes later at the end. We're also going to be frying these in olive oil, lots of olive oil. Olive oil is really good for you, don't be afraid of the fat content. And our spices today are, I added an extra one just in case, but mainly cumin. Cumin is the first spice, and we're going to use a lot of it with the lentils. And I like coriander a lot, so I'm going to use almost the same amount of cumin and coriander as I like. I love coriander. My mom cooks with it all the time, and she made a big imprint on me. Sorry?
Which one's the sweeter one?
The coriander is the sweeter one. Yeah, when I started cooking, I never knew the difference between the two. One of them has a very strong smell, and that's cumin. Cumin, very strong smell, very powerful flavor. It's great, but if you use too much, you'll overpower it. Coriander, you can drizzle that in, it'll be fine. Put as much as you like, and it's sweeter when you smell it. I brought cinnamon today. I do like ground cinnamon today. I don't really think I'm going to use it because as an individual, I love to cook with cinnamon. It brings warmer flavors out in the dish, especially with stews, and I love to put cinnamon in my rice. But it's not really what you're supposed to put in Moujadara. So I'm going to put it on the side. But if you want to use cinnamon, you most definitely can. One last thing that I forgot to mention is bay leaf. This is also optional. I love bay leaf as well. We're going to add it in when we're cooking our lentils. You can even put it in with your rice, to be honest. Anywhere, it works. But those are your main ingredients. I'm going to put them to the side. And if we're ready to go, I'll start with a mini introduction, and then we can start cooking. Yeah? Everyone's saying yeah? All right, guys. So welcome to, not my kitchen. Welcome to Assumption Care's kitchen. They're providing the space for us today. Thank you very much. My name is Khadija. I am the director of Kindness Cafe. And basically, Kindness Cafe, if you haven't heard of us already, we are a food rescue organization that serves to collect surplus food in Windsor before it goes to waste, right? We're trying to save as much food before it goes to waste, feed as many people as possible with that food before we return it to the ground using through compost. So basically what we're doing today is we're using rescued food, surplus lentils and rice from organizations that would have otherwise thrown it away. We're taking that, we're going to be cooking for us today. Everyone here is going to be able to eat with me, and I hope that you guys at home will be able to eat some as well. And all the food that I put in this little waste basket that I have is going to be composted. Okay, so we're really big on reducing waste everywhere. So I'll mention one thing as well before we get going. Kindness Cafe, we're finishing up our GoFundMe link. We're basically fundraising to finance our phase 2 of business operations because we recently switched over to a nonprofit organization and we just need to cover a few funds. So if you're watching and you like what you're seeing, if you like what Kindness Cafe does, feel free, please check out our Instagram page at Kindness Cafe Windsor. And our link is the link for the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe link is in the bio. And feel free to contribute. That being said, it's time for us to rinse our lentils. So first step, I'm gonna rinse my rice and my lentils. I'll actually start with my rice because I'm gonna cook it while I start doing the lentils, okay? And as you guys know, rice is kind of starchy. We don't want our rice to be like super sticky, right? We want it to have a little bit of its own flavor. So what I'm gonna do, I put the rice in my pot that I'm gonna cook it with. This is just what I do at home. And I'm going to rinse my rice. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to pour some cool water over the rice. The amount doesn't matter. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use my clean hands, my washed hands, to swirl the rice around. Sometimes you might find little pieces of like debris that you might want to take out. So go ahead and pick that out. And you'll notice that the water is very starchy. You see that, how it became white? We're going to pour that out and rinse again. So I have a bowl here that's going to allow me to do that. I don't know if you guys on Instagram can't see it, but it's okay. Just going to pour it out gently because I don't want to lose my rice. Some debris goes like that. I'm not losing any rice. There's still rice in the pot. Also, guys, I heard you can use rice water in your hair as a rinse. It's really good for curly hair, apparently. So if you really wanted to save this water, instead of pouring it on a plant, you could use it on your hair. So we're doing that one more time. I'll show you guys. I rinse it like 3 or 4 times before I cook it. I'm trying to get the water to not be so white. Does that make sense? I want it to be, it might still be a little bit starchy, but I want it to be mainly clear. So, oh, and the amount of rice that I put in here is 1 cup. So we're gonna make 1 cup of rice. It's gonna make about 4 servings of rice, but I think it's gonna make more, like 6 servings of moujadara, because we're gonna add equal amounts of lentils. I'm gonna go again. More rinsing.
Can you ever rinse your rice too much?
Sorry?
Can you rinse rice too much?
Not that I know of. I think you can just keep rinsing it and rinsing it. But one thing my mom yelled at me for when I was younger, don't rinse your rice in hot water. Rinse it in cool water for sure, because you don't want it to start the cooking process, right? Same thing with rinsing your meat. Don't rinse your meat in hot water. All right, I'm gonna rinse it one more time because I'm not satisfied yet. I was telling my friends in this kitchen before I started cooking that cooking is a really good way for me to de-stress. I use cooking as a way to like not think anymore and not to not stress. So it's a very like artistic process for me actually. And let's do some hearts. Thank you guys. So I like to focus on every little portion of what I'm doing. So if I'm rinsing my rice, I like to do it thoroughly. When I'm cutting my onions, I like to do it well and take my time, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that adds something special to the dish. You put your love into it, people can taste that. That's extra flavor, you know? So there, my rice is rinsed, it's thorough. It's a lot of rice water for my hair after this. I'm gonna put this to the side, hold on one second. Put it over there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add almost, because there's a little bit of water left over in here, I'm gonna add almost 2 cups of water. So probably 1 3/4 of a cup of water to cook this in, because the ratio of rice to water when you're cooking it is about 1 to 2. Oh, it's a little bit too much. But there is a little bit of water left in the pot that I am just going to leave like that. So here's my rice. If you can see it, thank you. My rice, that water's looking nice and clear. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, and I'm sorry I don't know how much salt, just to taste, you know what I'm saying? A little something. Now this is usually when I would add a little bit of cinnamon into the water, but that's an optional step, so I'm going to skip it for now because I wanted to try it without the cinnamon. And I'll put a tiny bit of oil in the water, just a tiny bit. We're gonna see a lot of oil in, let's just say this is a tablespoon of olive oil. Olive oil is a very important oil in Arabic cuisine. Whoop. As long as I don't get it all over myself. But it has a lot of benefits. I'm going to put this now on the stove, and we're going to cook it on high heat until the water begins to boil. And then once it boils, I'm going to bring the heat down to low, and I'm going to cover it with the lid. Okay, so let's just hope this is the right burner. Nope. No. If it's not working, I'm going to go to the next one. Sorry, guys. There we go. So that's on high. And if you want to see, I'll give you one last look actually. So there's a little bit of olive oil. I love the green color of the oil on the top.
Did you stir it around? Did you stir the olive oil into your water and rice, or did you let it sit on top?
I just let it sit on top. If you want to, you most definitely can if you feel it's going to distribute it more evenly. But you're going to see throughout our cooking, we're actually going to be adding that oil again on top of the rice when it's done. So this is just to prevent it from really sticking together. And then later on, we're going to add more oil, you'll see. But I'm going to come back over here. Next, we're going to be rinsing our lentils. This is a little bit more of a process. I'm going to need a little more water. So here are my brown lentils. What I have here is 1 cup. You can, the ratio that you want to do is up to you. If you want to have a ratio of lentils to rice 1-to-1, which is what I'm cooking with, you go ahead and have 1 cup of lentils for 1 cup of rice. If you want to have a ratio of, maybe you like less lentils and you like more rice, sometimes I like that, so you can go 1/2 cup of lentils and 1 cup of rice, right? It's up to you. That's the cool part of cooking. You get to do it however you like. We are not in a restaurant. This is your food. So I'll pour some water. Now, what I'm doing with the brown lentils, I'm looking for debris. Because sometimes you get little twigs, and I'm going to put my debris in here. Sometimes you get little twigs in there, or, you know, just natural debris that comes from the farming process. I'm using the same technique. I'm swirling my hand inside to try to get rid of as much as I can. And I'm looking at it, like trying to see if there's anything in there. These look like oh. Sometimes they come up. That was a twig. It kind of comes, the debris will come out more sometimes when you after you stop stirring it roughly. So you'll stop stirring it, take a look. You know what I'm saying? I got a little something in there. I'm going to pour some of the water out into another bowl. And you will see, I'm going to pour it slowly as well. You will see, I'll show you guys what comes out of the water. You see that? There's like some stuff floating in there. We're going to rinse it again. We're trying to get as much as we can out. Okay? And how's that going? Is it boiling yet? It's boiling? All right, so since that our rice is boiling, I'm going to, well, it's kind of boiling uneven, so I'm going to stir it a bit. Because it's burning more on one side than the I'm gonna wait 1 more minute. I'm gonna let it get back up. And I'll be ready to cover it. Yeah, it's boiling really well now. I'm going to turn the heat down to low because I want it to continue boiling, but not so fast. And then we cover it, okay? And the steaming process is really important when making rice, so we're just gonna leave it there until all the water is boiled out, basically, okay? Back to doing our lentils. By the way, when I cook, I like to do 1,000 things at once, so I hope everyone follows, but for some reason that gets me in the mood. I do dishes too while I cook, so I don't have to do it at the end or force my sisters to do it. Be like, hey, if you're eating, you gotta clean my mess. There are a little bit of twigs here. I'm just gonna take them out. Yeah, you'd be surprised what comes out in lentils, man. I'm gonna do one more wash. Okay, that's for my Instagram peeps. These are the lentils. I can't twist it to show you guys, but just be sure that I'm making something yummy. Okay, a little more rinsing. Take your time. I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, this is looking pretty clean. All right, here's my lentil water. I did not hear anything about lentil water and hair, so I think that's just gonna go on a plant later. I'm gonna put this over here out of the way. All right, so we got our lentils. What we're doing with our lentils is we're gonna be boiling them. The ratio of water to lentil is 4 to 1, I believe. And this is kind of like the trickier part. You really don't want your brown lentils to get mushy. So we're gonna be using the same exact technique for cooking our lentils as cooking the rice, which is we're gonna be bringing the water to a boil with the lentils. As soon as it boils, we're gonna bring the heat down low, and we're gonna allow it to cook as well, and with the lid on. I don't really remember if there's a lid on or off. I guess it doesn't really matter. So, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna add spices to the water. We want the lentils to be tasty, okay? I'm going to use this pot. This is not a pot that I would use. This is what I have on me. I would use another pot just like the one on the stove, even a smaller pot if possible. So I'm going to add these lentils, all of these lentils. Oh, it already smells so good. I love the smell of rice. And I'm gonna add 4 cups of water. So 1 cup of lentils is here, and I have 4 cups of water, roughly. 1, 2, and I always forget where I'm at when I'm pouring. 3 and 4. Bam. That's our water. What I'm gonna add now, please don't be shocked. All right, because I'm gonna put a lot of cumin. Cumin is the strong spice, but you can put a lot of it in here because it's going into the lentils, and actually we're gonna drain some of the, and I don't know how much I'm putting, to be honest. I'm putting an amount, and what I do is I'm gonna, right now I put probably 4 tablespoons of cumin. It's a lot, okay? And I'm gonna put the same amount, if not more, of coriander, because coriander is it's a lighter spice, so you don't have to be afraid of it as much as cumin, because I'm terrified of cumin sometimes. There you go. And what I put, bay leaf, the magic leaf. To be honest with you, I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you what bay leaf does, but it adds a certain flavor. I cook it in my rice sometimes. It just adds this flavor that I just can't place it. But bay leaf, the way you should cook it is you should always cook it in some kind of like water. So like if water's boiling, you shouldn't be frying it like that because it's really dry. You see that? It's a dry leaf. Always cook it with water. It's good in soups too. If you make a lentil soup, You could throw 1 bay leaf in there or 2. I'm putting 2 because I want more flavor. Let me just fix the burner. Let me check if the burner is working or not. On the side. In the meantime, we can cut our onions. First, I'll add my salt though, because I didn't add any salt. Hey guys from Instagram. I see you guys. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Also, I don't know how much salt. Like a tablespoon or something. It's going to be drained off later. Actually, I put this much cumin. I cooked this the other day. My mom tasted it. She's like, you could have put more cumin in there. I was like, what? All right, this is my favorite part. I don't know why I love cutting onions. I'm going to pull this down. Oh, you guys can't see me. Sorry. I don't think it really moved. Oh, thank you. That works. So I'm going to start with 1 onion. Okay. If you really love onions like that, you could put 2. You could put 3. The other day, I made Moujadara for my family. I used 3 cups of rice, and I did 4 onions. So it was a lot. I smelled like an onion when I went to the gym that night, but you know what? It was all in good faith. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna chop my onion. What I do, I'll slice it. So I'm gonna move over so you guys can see me a little bit. So I cut off the sides. This is how I start. It's how I've been taught to cut my onions, right? I'll cut the ends off. Then I make, oh, you guys can't see. Then I'm gonna cut it once down here. I just give it 1 cut down the side. And I peel that top layer off. Everything. It comes off super easy like that. And then yeah, I always like to have a garbage or my compost next to me because it makes cooking easier. I'll cut it in half. I'm gonna slice it. If you want, you can also pull this over and cut everything in half. That's usually what I'll do. Did you catch me there? You can also just keep them long if you have like, you want to go for that aesthetic. There you go. That's the last one. I might do that. Sometimes like the onion has like a little bit of an end that I didn't cut off properly. I'll look for it and I'll take it out from there. But we'll just go with 1 onion. Do you guys want to try 2 onions? Yeah? Okay, let's do 2 onions instead. Let's do 2 onions. I'm feeling 2 onions, yeah? We're not afraid of smells in this kitchen. I'm gonna put my onions aside. It's just easier for me to cut the next one. You guys okay with me doing 2 onions? They're saying something. Say. Those scraps are going to compost, 100%. We're Kindness Cafe, and we're interested in completing the food cycle and eating good. We're very interested in eating good. Excuse me if I cry, because I'm crying right now. And it's from the kindness. She said it right. Crying from the kindness. Honestly, though, our founder, Auda Ahmed, is very inspirational. She sometimes makes me want to cry. I hear she's on the call. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. She's one of the best people that I've met in my life. I've never met somebody who cares that much about other people and like genuinely. She went into our epicenter, Windsor, which is our small business incubator. They basically help people who have business ideas grow their business. She went in just because she witnessed somebody wasting, oh my bad. She witnessed somebody wasting food and it bothered her so much that she came with a business idea that was just, let me just help the people who need it. That's how Kindness Cafe started. I've never met anybody like that. She makes me cry sometimes. There we go. Now, one thing I'd like to tell you guys too, dropped an onion there, but something my grandma taught me too. I learned how to cook from my grandma and my mom, right? Our family loves food. Our kitchen is designed, it has like an island like this, and nobody sits at the dining table, everyone sits on the island while people are cooking. It's just, it's where family happens, right? And my grandma always taught us to like never waste while we were cooking. So for example, if I'm making a tomato sauce and I'm using a can of tomato paste, she would always tell me, pour some water, just a little bit of water inside of that empty can and shake it and get every last bit of that tomato paste, because she's like, you never know when you're not going to be able to eat. You never know when you're not going to have that food one day, and you're going to wish that you ate. You're going to wish that you could even have those scraps inside of inside of the tomato paste can. So let me check out my rice. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to just take it off the heat to check it. How I check it, I open it and I tilt my pot so that if I see that there's still water in it, it still needs to cook. If there's no water, then it's done. And there is no water. So this is looking good. I'm gonna keep the heat on because I don't know if I can turn that back on. Take it off the heat. Just let it sit with the lid on it. Just let it sit. Okay, when it starts to dry up a bit, we're gonna fluff it with a fork. Now I'm gonna put my lentils on. And this is gonna cook for a little bit. We're gonna have a lot of time to talk. From there, it's gonna cook. When I'm done with that, I'm gonna clean out that pot and I'm going to fry my onions in there. But that's really the last step, the onion, because that's the garnish. You put the onions on top, and then while you eat it, you mix it in. Oh my God, it tastes so good. I'm getting hungry just talking about it. Our lentils are boiling. I'm turning the heat down as low as I can get it. This is a stove meant for like army. We cook for the army here. Yeah, and if you can see, I'm not sure if you can see, the way that it is bubbling and boiling is nice and steady. And we're happy with that.
So like about 20 minutes. We should think in general 15 minutes for lentils to boil.
I would say so, 15, 20. I would say for them to cook. Now, like I said, I like to cook and be relaxed while I do it, so I take my time. Instead of timing it, and I think it is about 20 minutes of cooking time, but I will just constantly check it. I'll taste it. I'll take a spoon or a fork, take a little bit out, I'll put it on a plate and then eat it from the plate. Taste it, does it need more cumin, does it need more salt, does it need more anything? Do you know what I'm saying? And then, but what I'm mainly checking for is texture. I'll be like, it's almost there, it's almost there. I want them soft, but I don't want them mushy. Because when they're mushy, I'll eat it still. I love lentils. I love food in general, but for Moujadara, you want them to be kind of, to keep their form, really. But yeah. So other than that, we're just gonna wait for some lentils to boil. Can I get that fork, please? So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna fluff the rice, and then I'm gonna close it again. Okay? It has a little bit of the oil in it, so it really shouldn't be sticking. How I'm fluffing it, I have to show you guys how to do this too. I take a fork, and I don't use the upside, I use the back side, right? And all I'm just doing is I'm lifting. That's really all you're doing. You're lifting the rice from the corner of the pan. Just don't want it to stick. There's not a lot of oil in here right now. There will be more once the lentils are done, and I'm gonna like literally do the same thing. I don't want to touch it too much. I don't want to like break it. Parboiled rice is awesome because you can like, it's kind of hard to fail with parboiled rice, like as opposed to basmati rice, or I don't know, that's what we call it in my house. I hope we're not weird. But yeah, we're just gonna wait. When the lentils are done, I'm gonna use my colander. I'm gonna drain them. I'm gonna take the bay leaves out and compost the bay leaves. But then I'm just gonna put the lentils in the pot with the rice. And I'm not gonna touch it, I'm not gonna stir it until I fry my onions, and I have the oil from the onions that I'm going to pour into the pot, basically. Once the oil is in there, then we're gonna get, like, it's gonna mix in with the rice and lentils really well. We'll fold it again, or I wanna say fluff it. I don't want it to break, you know what I'm saying, too much. And then we'll put the onions on top and be able to eat it right away. And that's the best part. So this is what we're left with. It smells really good. It's like your lentils and cumin and coriander and all that goodness. And what we're gonna do, I'm going to strain it. So I have my colander. I'm just gonna use the same bowl. Usually I'll do it in a sink, but because I can't go to the sink right now, I'm gonna show you. So I'm just gonna, I'm surprised there's really not much water in here anyways. Just gonna pour it. I'm gonna try to make sure everything goes in there. I don't wanna waste like that. Oh, see, I am dropping it. Like that. Okay, at this point, pro tip, put water in your pot right away, because this stuff is gonna stick if you don't. And if I could wash it right now, I would. Sometimes I'll like run my finger along. I'm just gonna do it now because I don't wanna clean it later. I'll run my finger along the side. Anything that's been cooked on will come off right now. Just be careful if your pot is hot. There, even up here, it needs to come down. I usually do this in my sink, and I'll have like a running water, but.
Are we gonna use the same pot? This pot again?
Yeah, I do need to wash this pot, actually. Can you? Here, this is mostly washed already, so it'll be easy for you. Thank you. Now, literally because I rinsed that, it's gonna be so easy just to wash that off. So that's a very big tip. This is all rinsed. Okay, I'm gonna pick out my bay leaf. So you'll see it got cooked down. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna throw it in the compost. There's one more in here, I don't know where it is. Use a fork to find it. Here it is. If you're comfortable just keeping the bay leaf in there, you totally can. You don't have to take it out. In my house, we usually keep it in. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put this in the rice pot, all right? And I'm gonna worry about it later. Okay, so put it in the rice pot. The burner still is going. There you go. And I do wanna rinse this too, if possible. Can you put me some water in here, please? Thank you. Okay, so we are gonna be putting oil in this pot. It's not completely dry, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put it on the stove and let the water evaporate. Did you hear me? So I want it to be completely dry. I don't want any oil mixing with water when I'm frying, because that's just, oh my God, that's just a bad idea. I'm gonna rinse, I want this rinsed right away. Sorry, making a mess a little bit. And there we go. This is gonna be easy to clean when I clean it. Okay, thank you for the water. Can I get a napkin? I'm just gonna wipe up the little mess that I made here. I'll put some of this in the compost. Thank you so much. Wipe up my mess as I go. I like to cook in a clean kitchen space, so, and you don't even notice how much onion gets everywhere. Put it all in the compost. I'm gonna put my excess in the compost as well. And there you go. We're done with this. I am still, oh, that was really fast. I'm gonna try one thing too. I want to take the a clean portion. Hold on. Do you have another cloth? I'm sorry. A clean one? Or you can just give me the napkin there. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. It's not drying fast enough. I'm just gonna wipe it quick. It'll come out. There we go, our pot's ready. I'm gonna pour olive oil. I don't know how much, it's gonna be a lot, because we're gonna fry it basically. And one thing you have to know about olive oil, its boiling point is really low. It's very easy to burn olive oil. So you wanna make sure that your heat is on medium or medium low. You don't want it higher than that, okay? Unless like you're just gonna keep it there for a little bit, which is what I do because I cheat. I'm being generous here. I put, I wanna say 1/3 of a cup, I say 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of oil. But it's to taste as well. Do as you like. If you don't like a lot of oil, then what you can do, you can just pour more oil into your rice by itself. And then have less oil on the stove if you don't want to like be frying it like that. If you think olive oil is, not as good as I was telling you it was. It's good to have your own opinions. I'm gonna rinse this because I'm gonna use it. Oh, no, I'm not. I have another spoon, so I'm gonna use that. I don't want it to be wet, but I will still rinse it in any case. And yeah, how I test my oil, I throw one piece of onion in it. Because I want to see how the oil is going. It could use a little more heat. I may turn it up a tiny bit. I can't tell on this stove what's medium to medium high, so we're just gonna figure it out. But if your oil, this always happens to me, my oil boils because I'm kind of getting impatient sometimes. Well, not boils, but it just gets too hot and you'll see the steam start coming. I will literally, what I do, I take the oil off the heat completely. I don't even turn, I'll turn off the stove, but I take it off the burner. And sometimes I'll take it off the burner, let it set for 5 seconds, and then I actually add my onions in while it's off the burner, because adding the onions lowers the heat of your oil. So that's if, you can even just wait. If you're not comfortable, you can just wait for it to cool down, put it back on the stove again. But I'm impatient, so I know I'm talking about being patient and all that, but to be honest, I'm human. So yeah, I wish you guys, can you see this? How nicely it's frying in there? Because it's just so pleasing. I wish we could show. Yeah, guys, the oil is frying it nicely. Do you see see that bubbling? That makes me so happy. I'm gonna add some more. Okay, I'm gonna dump the whole thing in now. So hold on, just be careful. I'm gonna go slow. Don't throw it in a lot, but just, and get everything in there, don't waste. I'll put that in and I'm gonna stir it really quick. I'm just stirring it to coat all the onions with the oil before I let it just sit. Do not cover it. Oh, this looks pretty good. I'll make sure it's even. And then we wait. We're basically almost done our moujadara now. This is the last step. Literally, you fry your onions. So this is the part where you have a lot of choice, really. Some people like their onions almost burnt, like how I like it. It's it's black. Your onion, half of your onions are actually burnt.
Are they crunchy?
Are they crunchy? They are crunchy, but once they mix in, they get soft. Okay, but some people like it more caramelized, so it's they haven't burned yet. So you get to choose how you like it. I'm making them burnt today, so everyone's gonna be eating the way I like it. What I personally look for is that half of them are burnt and the other half are kind of still wet or caramelized, right? But I make sure that I take my onions off about 2 minutes before I think it gets there, because when you take the onions out of the oil, they're still gonna fry in the oil that they're coated with, right? So when it's almost there, then I take them out. And even the time it takes to take them out, sometimes they even reach the burning point or whatever I want, while it's still in, and then they kind of go a little bit past. Mm-hmm. So I do try to take them out a little bit early. That's it. I'm looking back at my onions. They're starting to brown, finally. So I'm going to do what I mentioned to you before. I'm going to be pulling the onion. Ooh, they're getting good. Okay. I'm pulling my this brownish onions towards the outside of my dish. Can't really see it, I'm sorry, but I'll explain it to you. And I'm just bringing them in. There's not too much going on. I kind of do want to turn the heat up a little bit because it's taking longer than I wanted, but I do pull it in, move it around. I'm bringing my most cooked onions to the area of the pot that has the least heat, if that makes sense, so that my undercooked onions can get cooked. They can go to the hotter spot. I think that's looking kind of good. I'll keep my burnt onions a little bit in the middle. Try to evenly distribute it. And then when I leave my onions, I try to make sure the onions are like evenly distributed around the pot. The smell of onion frying is becoming so nice right now. I'm getting excited to eat. If you wanted to take your onions out at this point, you most definitely could. So see, we have the blackened onions on the outside. We have some caramelized ones on the inside, and even some that aren't, like they're just cooked. And what I was showing that you guys earlier is that I literally just take, this is the hottest part of the pan, I can tell. I'm just pulling the burnt onions, and I'm replacing that area, with the less cooked onions. And that's gonna allow everything to cook even. I'll put my burnt onions in the middle, because that's where it's not frying. And yeah. I'm gonna cook it longer than this. Okay? Look good? Yeah, looks like she got it. Also, you're gonna smell like onions. You have to wear that smell proudly. I know it bothers other people, and I know maybe other people will say something about you, but you know what? Those other people are not eating good food, and you are. So obviously be mindful. Obviously, cooking clothes that you're not going to wear when you go out. Have a shower before you go. But sometimes when I made Moujadara before, I showered and I changed my clothes and I still smelled like onion. So I just accepted it, because I was like, yeah, I just embrace it because I know I had a great meal that day. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be afraid of our food, right? Sometimes the food that's the most pungent can be so delicious, and we enjoy it and we eat it. And if everybody in the house smells like onions, that's great too, then it's not me alone. I believe it is, but I'm gonna show you my onions now because that's perfect. I'm gonna turn my burner off. Okay. I'm gonna be really careful with this pot, okay? This is when I'm gonna take it off. It's going to continue to cook, okay? It is still frying, and you can see even the onion, I'm seeing the black onions on the side, you know what I'm saying? There's still some soft onions in the middle. That's what I want. I'm gonna move it here. When I take my onions will continue to fry, as I remove them, okay? Because there's oil on them, it's still really hot. But that's like the perfect Moujadara onion, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then I'm gonna try to save them as quick. I'm gonna try to move fast because I don't want it to over fry. You'll see it's off the heat and it's still frying. I'm using a fork intentionally so that the oil, more oil drips out while I'm cooking. Okay, and with kushari, which is Kindness Cafe's main dish, there is also this onion aspect to it. On top, okay. Faster, Khadija, faster. Stop talking, Khadija. I can hear my mom say, stop talking. And get your work done. I love you, Mom, if you're watching. I don't think she is. She's probably teaching. My mom's a teacher. A very good teacher because she taught me how to cook. She said, oh, cooking? That's It's easy. You just throw onion and oil in a pot, and then you do whatever you want after that. Which is what we did today, guys. Easy cooking. Sticking to our philosophy of zero waste, always try to don't waste anything. Try to take everything out. There's no sense in wasting things. Oop. So that's our onion. We're going to be putting that on top of the moujadara after we put the oil. So this is what we're going to do. This oil that is left in the pot, okay, it still has little onions in it. I'll scoop it out later. I'm going to add it directly. I'll do it right here, actually, so you guys can see me doing it. I'm going to add it directly to my pot, which has been chilling there waiting for some love and attention. It's going to get some. Be very careful with the oil, though. Make sure no water goes in there. It will fly back in your face and hurt you. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to drizzle this oil into a pot. And you know what, guys? I'm actually really glad that we fried more onions because I think that's the perfect amount. If we didn't fry more, it wouldn't have been enough. Okay, I'm putting all the onion. I'm trying to get everything. If you have a spatula, like a baking spatula that's okay with the oil and the high heat, you can use it to scoop out the oil to get every last drop. Okay, because we are Kindness Cafe and we are also human beings that care about the planet. I'm gonna put this back on the stove just to be out of my way. Just to be out of my way. These fell compost. All right, now, what should I use? I want my spoon, my flat spoon that I used for the lentils, and I'm gonna fold this in together, okay? All I'm doing, I'm trying not to break the lentils, folding, not stirring, okay? Folding is basically you kind of scoop upwards and you lift, right? Now the oil is allowing the rice to kind of separate. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at all these little lentils, it looks amazing. Folding. There you go. It's almost, the rice needs a little bit more. All right, guys. And then I have to show my Instagram live people too, but this is how it looks before the onions. Okay, and this is with a 1-to-1 lentil rice ratio. So I used 1 cup of rice and 1 cup of lentils. When I cooked it at home, I actually used 1-to-2 rice to lentils. Oh, other way around. Sorry, I had less lentils. This is my moujadara, guys. It's not done. I have to add the onion. Hold on. And then should I put it in the pot? I feel like we should serve it. I'm gonna hold the onions. I'm gonna serve it, yeah. Here's our plate. Okay, and I'm gonna scoop it. So we're gonna serve. Would you like me to put a big helping or a small helping? A big helping I think looks better. In Arab homes, you're given a big helping. You're not given a small helping. Okay, some of our lentils got a little bit mushy, but most of them are good, so we're good. Okay. I wish I could make it look a little more cute, but this is moujadara. It's meant to be more homey. And how you serve it, you put the onions on top. Be generous with the onions. This is the best part, guys. Best part. You know what? I might even fry some more onions.